Going on, everybody? Welcome to another segment of the barbecue. Today we're doing our Week 7 NCAA football recap. A ton of great games, a ton of big upsets. It was a great week for college football, and we're getting into the thick of things. Middle of the conference schedules, and a lot of big upsets that are definitely going to be happening in the next couple of weeks for sure to shake up the national championship standings for sure. But first we had before Saturday, it was on Friday night actually, we had a big upset and we had Stanford coming out with the win in double OT 46-43 over Colorado, and Deion Sanders was not happy.
No, he was not. Do not play his theme music.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was mad because I had money on Colorado, and I went to bed. They were up, 29-0 at halftime. I was like, oh, they got this. It's in the bag. I was like, Stanford isn't that good this year. They're 1-4. I wake up in the morning, and I no longer had $25 to my name.
Nah, if you're Colorado, you got to find some way to play some defense. You should not be allowing 40 points to the Stanford like that. Shout out to whoever that guy that made the catch was at the end of that. He completely just mossed Travis Hunter for that last touchdown. Beautiful play. I heard he's from Canada, so shout out to the Six for bringing him in. But yeah, no, great game all around. Huge upset to start the week off, and it was a great game. Next, we got Georgia versus Vandy, where Georgia just slaughtered Vandy 37-20. Not even close. But they lost Brock Bowers for the year, or not for the year, but for 4 to 6 weeks with a injury there that he's gonna have surgery on. So that's a huge blow for Georgia.
Yeah, it's like you said, it's his ankle. They said approximately, like you said, 6 weeks, but they're trying to get him back within 4. So if he's back in 4 weeks, hopefully he'll be back for the, maybe the last game of the season against Georgia Tech. And if they continue to stay at number 1, the SEC championship, obviously if they get to that point, they would love to have him there. Especially if they make it into the playoffs. I mean, their offense basically revolves around him. So, but they took care of Vandy. They probably didn't necessarily need him to take down Vandy anyway. Carson Beck looked pretty solid, threw for 261, had a touchdown, 1 interception. Dylan Edwards rushed for 146 yards and a touchdown. So, looked pretty good. The UGA defense is coming around. They're obviously not as solid as they have been the last couple of years, but they're still one of the best defenses, I think, in the country.
Yeah, and I mean, they shouldn't be worried about not having Brock Bowers. They got so much other firepower. They're going to really need him in the SEC championship and the national championship, so just get him healthy until then. Even if he is healthy before then, I would even just say rest him until the SEC championship game, to be honest, just to make sure he's fully 100%.
Yeah.
No shocker there. They like I said, they dominated Vandy. Should have been worse probably. But next we got Michigan, which in my opinion looks like the best team in college football right now. I don't know why they're being so disrespected in the standings, but they should be number 1 in my opinion. For how dominant they've been all year. They won 52-7 over Indiana. Just all-around dominant performance. Their defense is looking amazing. They look unstoppable on offense. Yeah, I think they're the best team in the country right now.
Yeah, I think if they were stacked up against Georgia, I would like Michigan over Georgia. I mean, they handled business against Indiana as expected. They scored a little bit more even than I thought they would. So, Michigan's keeping it rolling.
And then next we got Ohio State, which also kept it rolling against Purdue, 41-7, another dominant game. I mean, Ohio State, ever since they beat Notre Dame, has been rolling. Their offense is looking a lot better. And we all know their defense is pretty good. So again, no big surprise, but they finally got another real test against Penn State next week. So we'll have to wait and see. I'm not sold on them yet.
Yeah, that'll be a big game. That'll be a big determining factor. See where Ohio State's at. Luckily, they have Penn State at home, so they don't have to go into Penn State into a whiteout and play, which will obviously be a big advantage for them. So.
But next we got Florida State, the number 4 team, also blew out their opponent this week, Syracuse, 41-3. Finally, Florida State finally is looking like the Florida State team we know they should be after the last couple weeks. Dominant performance, and this is if they can play like they did this week every week, I mean, that's another team that they could possibly be the best team in the nation.
Yeah. Jordan Travis had another solid game, 23 for 37, 284 yards and a touchdown. No turnovers, which is obviously the key factor there. Defense only allowed 3 points against a Syracuse team that's decently solid. They're 0-3 right now in the ACC, but, 2 of those losses were Florida State and Clemson. So, Florida State looking good too, looking like a potential playoff team as well, right there at the number 4 spot.
And that wide receiver Coleman is an absolute stud. Had an amazing catch across the middle, the one-handed.
Definitely good receivers.
But next we got Penn State versus UMass, the number 6 team, which also dominated 63-0 against UMass. Like I said, I was like, honestly, I think that Penn State's not getting enough love. They've absolutely dominated every opponent they've had this year. And, they played Michigan State and West Virginia, probably the 2 biggest noteworthy games, and they're not that great this year. But the fact that they've absolutely just handled everybody by like 20 points or more this year says a lot. And I think that Ohio State might be in trouble next week. We'll have to stay tuned to figure that one out. But I'm thinking Ohio State might be in trouble this week.
Yeah, I think the spread for this game was like minus 42 or 43, and I was like, I don't know. They easily covered that. So shout out Penn State.
Oh man, and it was like 50. It was like 50 something to nothing in the third quarter. They could have scored more.
It was, let's see, 20, 42. It was 49-0 after the third quarter.
Yeah. So, but shout out to Penn State for that. And like I said, noon this week is going to be the most interesting game on the schedule for sure. I can't wait. And then next we had the game of the week for sure. Oh man, this game was so much fun to watch. Washington versus Oregon. Washington squeezed it out 36-33 against Oregon thanks to a missed field goal at the end. Michael Penix definitely has that big Penix energy, as Desmond Howard would say. And dude looked absolutely amazing. Should be the front runner for the Heisman, no doubt, no questions asked, in my opinion. What you think about this game?
Yeah, it was a great game, honestly. I ended up falling asleep in the third quarter, and I woke up right as time was expiring, and he kicked the field goal and he missed it. But both quarterbacks played solid. Bo Nix, 33 44 for 337, 2 touchdowns. And Michael Big Penix energy, 22 for 37, 302, 4 touchdowns and an interception. So, I mean, the Pac-12 quarterback play has been great this year. Michael Penix, I think, is kind of leading the charge. Him, Bo Nix, and Caleb Williams, obviously. So it's been fun to watch the Pac-12 this year.
Absolutely. A lot of games, a lot of high-powered offenses. And Penix was over there freestyling right before the fourth quarter drive that he had they took the lead on. So, I mean, talk about some confidence. It just not even, tuned into the game. He's freestyling about how he was going to come back and win the game. I mean, that's pretty awesome in my opinion. So
Swaggy.
But yeah, I told you Washington was my sleeper this year in the Pac-12, and they're proving it right now. So
yeah, be on to something.
But they still have a tough schedule coming up, so they got a lot of work to do. That's for sure. Next, we got Tennessee versus Texas A&M. Tennessee won 20-13. Tennessee's finally bouncing back a little bit after that UF loss. Pretty good. The defense finally stepped up. I need a little bit more out of Joe Milton, though.
Yeah, Joe Milton, pretty lackluster game. 50% completion. Only 100 yards through the air. Touchdown and interception. Both quarterbacks really didn't play that great. Low scoring, kind of sloppy game. Some turnovers. But Tennessee got the win, so that's, it's not always going to be pretty. But when you get the win, that's all that matters.
Absolutely. And then next we got Florida versus South Carolina, another high-scoring close game. Florida won 41-39. I don't know where Florida defense has been at this year. They've been so MIA, which is such a disappointment. But it was nice to see them put some points on the board, which they haven't done that much this season.
Yeah, I was surprised how many points were scored, honestly. Yeah, it was a pretty good game, pretty back and forth. I was glad to see UF pull it out. Spencer Rattler, I thought, played pretty solid. He had 4 touchdowns, 313 yards, only 1 interception. But Graham Mertz, had probably his best game of his college career, 423 yards and 3 touchdowns and no picks. So.
Yeah, we said that against Tennessee when he had that 300-yard game. So he's just adding on to the performances right now. He's definitely proven me wrong after I said that he was pretty much trash at Wisconsin. So
yeah.
But shout out to Mertz for proving me wrong. But next we had another upset. We had Pitt beat Louisville 38-21. Pitt showed out. This was the team that everybody thought that Pitt was going to be this year. I know that they've had injuries throughout the year, and they've been rotating the quarterback carousel. But yeah, this is the team that everybody thought Pitt was going to be this year, and they look great against Louisville. Hopefully, they can build off this win.
Yeah, they were struggling at the beginning of the season with Phil Jerkovic, who transferred in from Boston College and started out at Notre Dame. Actually played with his brother at Duquesne. Fun fact: his brother played linebacker. But yeah, I was really shocked to see Pitt get this win, especially how they started the season. And not only that, but winning by 17 points. So shout out to Pitt, baby. Hail to Pitt.
Mm-hmm. And then next we got Arizona and another upset over Washington State. They absolutely dominated 44-6 over Washington State, and that was on the road too, not even at home. I don't know what happened to Washington State. They absolutely laid an egg after losing last week to UCLA. Maybe their confidence was depleted after that. I don't know. But, talk about a depleted season after that. You go from 4-0 to 4-2 just like that.
Yeah, they're gonna need a big bounce back next week. Not sure who they play. Let's see. They play. Oh, they got Oregon next week at Oregon.
So yeah, they might be skidding down the standings a lot, but
they'll bounce back the week after Arizona State.
But yeah, no. Cam Ward's looked great though, the quarterback for the most part. Clearly, he didn't look great this week, but
yeah, he definitely.
That's another Pac-12 quarterback that's been balling out this year.
Yeah, and he was a guy who transferred from the FCS level, so talented guy.
I love watching those guys ball out too. The ones at the FS level coming up.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of talent in this college football landscape.
There's a lot of talent in the FCS, man. As someone who played at FBS and FCS, I would say equally as talented guys. I would just say a lot of them aren't as big or maybe just a step slower, but still very talented.
Absolutely. But next we got North Carolina versus Miami, another great game. North Carolina won 41-31 over Miami, and Tez Walker, first game back, got a touchdown. Drake May absolutely balled out. The UNC defense actually looked pretty good in this game, even though they allowed 31 points. And I mean, the UNC might, they're getting disrespected in the standings. I think they're at 10, but they look pretty damn good right now.
Yeah, right now I think they still have him at 12. But I mean, Drake May he's probably looked like him and Michael Penix, the two best quarterbacks in the country right now. I think they'll both probably be top 5, top 10 picks in the draft next year. He went for 273 and 4 touchdowns. But even Tyler Van Dyke, Miami's quarterback, had a pretty good game, a great game, honestly, minus the 2 interceptions he threw. He had 391 yards and 4 touchdowns.
Yeah, no. And I think one of those wasn't his fault. One of them was batted in the air by Whit.
Happened.
Regardless, still a great game. Next, we have Missouri, which upset Kentucky in this one, 38-21. Kentucky just lost some steam there, and honestly, Missouri's been a little underrated all year.
Yeah, I mean, Missouri's kind of come out of nowhere and had a really great year. I know they lost to LSU a couple weeks ago, but I was hoping Kentucky would win, especially being at home, and Kentucky's still ranked, but I think that Mizzou beat them, especially since they're on the road. I think Mizzou will kind of take that 24 or 25 spot from Kentucky.
Yeah. I mean, good for Missouri because they get no credit in the SEC, but they've been actually kind of holding it down over there a little bit the last few years. But next we had Alabama versus Arkansas. Alabama won 24-21 over Arkansas. Everybody thought this was going to be a blowout. I knew it was going to be closer just because Arkansas, I mean, even though they're 2-4, we're 2-4 coming into this week. They played every opponent super, super close. There's a lot of games. They almost beat LSU. They almost beat Ole Miss. They almost beat BYU. There's a couple. Go down the list, and they were in almost every game that they lost.
Yeah, Texas A&M was another one too.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think the spread on this game was like minus 21. I didn't think Bama would cover that, but I didn't think they would only win by 3 points, and it was pretty close, pretty low scoring throughout most of the game.
Shout out to Alabama's defense finally finding some ground there too, since they haven't looked that great.
Yeah. As far as the quarterbacks go, it doesn't really jump off the stat sheet. KJ Jefferson, who I think is one of the best quarterbacks in the SEC, he only threw for 150, 2 touchdowns. Then Jalen Milroe was 10 for 21, 230 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So not a bad day for Jalen Milroe, but KJ Jefferson, I think if he would have played, maybe just a little bit better, Arkansas might have been able to pull out the upset.
Yeah. I know it's a disappointing season so far for Arkansas and KJ Jefferson for sure. But,
yeah.
Crumble sometimes in the SEC. But next we had Oregon State versus UCLA. Oregon State won 36-24. Big win for Oregon State.
Yeah, DJ Uiagalelei. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah. And UCLA has that freshman quarterback, so I wasn't expecting too much from them this year. And the Pac-12 is super tough, man. Pac-12 is super tough this year. So,
yeah.
Just hey, Uiagalelei.
Probably, I'd say Pac-12. They gotta be. I'd say they're probably the best conference in college football this year.
Yeah, arguably. I agree with you right now, but everybody's gonna say the SEC. But yeah, no, you're right. You're right. Down the board is all great right now, pretty much. Next, we got Duke versus NC State. Duke won 24-3 with a backup quarterback, no Riley Leonard. Defense looked amazing, completely just demolished NC State. Yeah, that's about it. I got on that one.
Duke's quarterback only completed 4 passes, but 2 of them were touchdowns. So pretty good.
Hey, 50% touchdown rating there. That's pretty solid.
There you go.
But I think they get Riley Leonard back this week and they FSU this week, so it's a big matchup for them.
Yeah, that'll be big. I don't know who they have next week, but they have Florida State at Florida. Big one, yeah.
So they gotta come ready. But next we got Notre Dame versus USC. Notre Dame came up with the upset, beat number 5 USC 48-20. They actually absolutely put the beat down on them. This is the Notre Dame team that I thought we were gonna have all year, and I think they just, just really disheartened after losing that Ohio State game, and that's why I think they still should have beat Louisville. But they're pretty much out of the college football playoff, unfortunately. But they're just playing the home record game now, trying to beat all those teams that so they don't make it too.
Yeah, the story all year for USC has been their defense, obviously, and the defense kind of laid another egg last week. You look at the stats here. Sam Hartman, he only threw for 126, but had 2 touchdowns. They honestly, as far as total offense goes, didn't have a ton of yards for scoring 48 points, but I think Caleb Williams he had 3 turnovers, so that didn't help. Definitely, Caleb Williams probably his worst game of his college career. Sam Hartman didn't play great also, but he didn't turn the ball over and he had a couple touchdowns, so can't really complain about that. But yeah, Notre Dame looked great and USC kind of looked suspect.
Yeah, and like I said, it's a shame they lost to Louisville because I would love to see them back in the college football playoff and get a rematch on Ohio State if they made it. But it is what it is. A lot of great teams in the college football this year, so I'm sure that it won't be disappointing.
You know how it is, though. Every time Notre Dame gets into the playoff.
Yeah, they normally blow it. I don't know. They're not Ryan Kelly anymore, so they might not blow it.
Maybe. I like Mark Freeman. I like him a lot.
Me too. And then I think I covered everything, but also shout out to FAU for beating USF 56-14. Owls up, baby. DP, did I miss anything on the sheet?
I don't think so. Yeah, I was just gonna shout out FAU for a big win, 56-14. I think next week who do they have next week? Oh, are they on a bye week? Oh wait, they're not in Conference USA anymore. I'm looking at USA.
They're athletic.
Yeah. Oh, they got UTSA this week, but it's at FAU. And UTSA had a really good team last year.
They're kind of underperforming this year.
Yeah, last week UTSA, I think they beat UAB. Yeah, they beat UAB 41-20. So it should be a pretty good game. FAU's debuting some new uniforms that look pretty fire. So.
All right. Something. But yeah, make sure you follow us on our college football pick'em on ESPN. See how you do versus me and DP, and keep following us for more information on college football coming up this weekend for our preview. Peace.